variance for material, labor, variable overhead, fixed overhead, and also sales. You should probably explain the reason for variance, why variance occur. You should be able to reconcile budgeted profit and actual profit using the variance. You should be able to compute advanced sales and materials variance, which is the new thing that you are covering, and you should be able to compute planning and operational variance. These are the new areas that you're coming up. The original variance analysis is something you should have covered in MA1, so it's a bit of a recap. So because it's a recap, let's have a look at this question here, and we're going to go through the variance calculation approach. Now, let's say a company has the following standard for their widgets and actual results are also provided. This is the actual. So budgeted sales and production was 10,000 unit. Actual sales was 9,000. Okay, 9,000, and the actual production was 11,000 units. The actual sales value is given to you, 495. Actual material given 36,000, costing so much. Actual labor hours worked is so much. Now, you do need to be aware that in some exam questions or some type of scenarios, you might be given material purchased and used. If that's the case, you have to split the calculation for price variance and usage variance. Same thing, you may have been given labor hours paid, and also work. Now, if there is a difference between the two, remember, labor hour paid and work, you might have to think about, let's put this in a different color so that you can see it. So you may have to think about something called idle time. Just remember, you may have to calculate something called idle time variance, the difference between labor hours paid and labor hours worked. That can get a little bit complicated in reality, but it depends on the questions. Okay. Next, you got actual variable overheads incurred is so much, and actual fixed overhead incurred is so much. So they've given you the actual cost incurred. Calculate all relevant variance and difference if using marginal and absorption costing. So if you're using marginal costing, remember, you kind of use something called marginal costing. No fixed overhead volume variance. Okay, there is no fixed overhead volume variance. At the same time, so marginal costing kind of uses standard sales volume, okay, calculation, uses standard contribution for marginal costing. Now, the standard cost card here is going to be selling price. You got direct material, direct labor, variable overhead given at $3 per hour, fixed overhead given at $4 per hour. Okay, this one, don't worry about the number there. This one is nothing. Okay, the gross profit is $14 per unit. Right, you are asked to calculate the variances. Okay, I hope you still remember how to calculate variances. That's something you're supposed to have done before. Let me just run through that one first. Okay, so when we do variance analysis, okay, the way we go about doing it, okay, this is the, remember, base level, basic. Basic variance, and we're going to do sales variance first. Sales variance, okay. If you're going to do sales variance, okay, the way we do it is AQ okay, I do need to ask you to set up something in like Excel type format. set up something like Excel type format so that you know how to do this. So actual quantity. Do stop me down by just raising your hand. If you want me to slow down, I will slow down. So can you set this up first, guys? This is just, I'll walk you through the calculation. So the normal calculation is we set up a table like this. Actual quantity is going to be the actual quantity sold. Actual quantity sold was 9,000. The actual price we don't know, but we know that the actual sales is going to be how much? 495. So we can put this number down, 495,000. We can leave this unknown. You don't need to solve something for the sake of solving it. So we know the actual quantity is 9,000 and actual quantity is 9,000. The budgeted quantity of sales and production was 10,000. So the budgeted quantity was 10,000. You kind of put those in. Once you put those in, okay, the next item you're going to do is probably look at your selling price. Okay, the selling price, what was the standard price? So standard price is $50 here, okay, given from the cost card. So you take 50. Standard gross profit per unit, SGPU is standard gross profit per unit, and we're going to get that 14 here. Gross profit is 14, so you put 14 there and 14 here. Okay, so once you have that numbers down, you can just get this thing settled out. So this, let's multiply that across. Right, we get this multiplication, just multiply those numbers across. And we look at the difference, okay? When we look at the difference, first number is the actual, the second number is should be. You actually earn 495,000, you should earn 450,000, which means you have a $45,000 favorable. This is called sales price variance. So the only thing that changed was the price. So sales price variance. Now over here, actually earned 126, should have earned 140,000. This means we have 14,000 adverse. Right, that's basically how you go about doing it. And then you can add the whole thing up. So when you add the whole thing up, you're going to get about 31,000. Right, that's the breakdown for sales variance using absorption costing. This is not marginal. So we're using absorption costing there. Okay, that's the breakdown using absorption costing. If you use sales variance using marginal costing, well, it's not going to be any major difference. Okay, remember, it's not going to be major difference. What's going to be the big difference? The big difference is going to be, well, I'm going to just say this is the same. So I'm not going to change this. I'm just going to say all of this is exactly the same. So you can just copy that out and keep it there. So I'm going to just change the color here to say these are all the same. Okay, all of this is the same. It's this one that's changing. Okay, the one that's changing is this item here. These two items, we are changing it out. Okay, Instead of calling SGP, we call it standard contribution and standard contribution. Okay, we call it standard contribution. Now the standard contribution was going to be 50 minus 12 minus 10 minus 6. So we know that's about 28. So the standard contribution is going to be 22 and 22. So now the variance here is going to be, well, if you look at it, it's going to be how much is the variance here? You got 220 minus 198. You get about 22,000 adverse sales volume variance. So this one now changes from 31,000 to 23,000 sales variance. So you can see there is a slight difference. The difference is caused because okay, that would be the major difference. All right, okay, so we kind of done the first part, which is this one. Let's go to the next variance. I'm going to go through something called the material variance. So when we do material variance, okay, the way we do it is going to be something like this. I'm just going to set it up: AQ, AP, AQ, SP. You should probably set up on like a table type thing like this. And then remember, the way we move about, actual quantity of material used. Actual quantity of material used is 36,000 kg. 36,000 kg. Okay. Okay. And actual price we don't know, but we know the amount costing us 126,000. Okay. The next thing that you got there is going to be actual quantity, same, 36,000. Standard price, well, what's the standard price? The standard price is $4 per kg, so you put 4, okay. And this one, standard quantity, is going to be, well, it's 3 kg times your actual production. Production is 33,000. And this is going to be 4. So you got that number. Now I'm just going to add this up. Again, see them crossing in the middle a bit. So 126,000 actually spent. Should have spent 144,000. So now it's going to be, well, that's going to be 18,000 favorable. Actually spent less than what you're supposed to have spent, therefore it's favorable, and we call this price. This one, actually spent 144, should have spent 132, should have spent lower, therefore adverse. Total, right, that's material cost variance. So we're done with the material variance. Next one we're going to is called labor variance. Now, if you're going to go to labor variance, I'm going to use the same thing a bit. I'm just going to change this out a bit. Change to actual hour. Right, you put that in. Actual hour is how much? 20,900. Same here. Okay. The next thing that you have there is going to be the standard hour and standard rate. Rate is 5 and 5. Standard hour is going to be 2 times your production of 11,000. Okay, so you should know what this is. Okay, remember what this is, how to get this one. It's 2 times 11,000 actual production. Therefore, we can now come to this other phase, which is how much is the actual cost? 108,680. Right. Actually spent, should have spent so much. So this one we can say is going to be 4180 adverse labor rate variance. Okay, over here actually spent 104,500, should have spent 110, therefore this is good. So this is about 5,500 favorable. Right, that's basically how you would have dealt with the labor cost variance. Next one. Right, let me just show you how to handle this one. Right, the first part you do need to know is variable overheads. Actual variable overhead 67,000, so we'll put that 67,000. Okay, then actual hours 20,900. The rate we are supposed to use is 3. And 3. So we get these numbers here. Actually spent 67,000, should have spent 62,700. So we can say this one is going to be 4,300. Here you're going to get 62,700 actually spent, should have spent 66,000. So you're going to get 3,300. Efficiency variance. Total coming down should be right. That's how you would calculate that setup. Next one, fixed overhead variance. Actual hour, actual fixed overhead rate. Well, we don't need the rate, but we know the actual hour, same. This one got a special one called budgeted hour. Budgeted hour is going to be production times the hours. How many hours? 22. So the budgeted production was 10,000 times 22. 10,000 times 2 is going to be 20,000. This is the actual hour gain, 20,900. This is standard hour, which is same as so the actual cost incurred is 83,000. Standard rate is $4. Actually spent, should have spent. So this is going to be this one. Actually spent, should have spent. Actually spent, should have spent. This is going to be You can jump from here to here straight. Okay, done. You are done with the what do you call, absorption costing. Now what's the difference in marginal costing? Right. That would be the way you handle the whole thing. Now, finally, you might have to reconcile the whole thing. So if you're going to reconcile the whole thing, So you do need to know how to reconcile. So the way we go is you start with your budgeted profit. Budgeted profit is going to be 14 times 10,000 is supposed to be 140,000. Okay, then you have the sales volume variance, which is the one we calculated up here. We used the absorption costing one. We had 14,000 adverse. So this one is going to be 126,000. Okay. Then you have operational variance, which is going to add all of this plus one more. Okay, so we talk about the direct material price. Sales price was, remember, sales price was 45,000 favorable, so I can put that down. Then I can do my material variances. 18 favorable, 12 adverse. Then go to labor rate, 4180 adverse for rate, 5005 for efficiency. Right, then you got variable overheads, 4,003, 3,003. Fixed overhead spending, you had, well, 3,000 adverse. Right, we can now add up the total. $56,320 favorable. Right. Therefore, this is called reconciling the balance. Okay, that covers the first part. Remember, now variance will be investigated in detail when it passes threshold set by management. Otherwise, it will be ignored. Okay, remember, it will be ignored. And then on the other side, you also need to be aware that the grade of labor, right. That covers the possible reason why something good has happened. You just have to swing your answer in a positive way or a negative way. Got it? Those are possible reasons. Okay. Any questions at this point, guys? Anything you want to clarify? You can type your question or you can ask directly. Anything you want to clarify, guys? All okay? If you're okay, thumbs up. If you need me to go through something back again, tell me which one. You want me to give you this note, is it? You mean the one that I've just done? This is, I can PDF it, but it's not going to have all the calculation inside it. You should know how to do the calculations. I can only PDF it. Okay? But I suggest you know how to set this up yourself and get it done. All right? Now, I'm going to go through the next area. So the rest of it, okay? Let's move on. Okay? There's something called standard costing, material mix and yield variance. In some production setting, companies uses different ingredient to make their product. The management may change the mix of material used, and this in turn can affect the yield from the production. This specifically extends the usage variance for product, and management will want to know optimum mix of material, which mix is good. Okay, example, let's have a look at this one. Widow's Co. make a very popular chocolate coated raisin snack. The standard ingredient is raisin 5 kg, chocolate 1 kg, and the cost is so much, and therefore it costs you material cost of 52. In the month just ended, Widow made 1,000 batches and used the following ingredient. So one batch should use so much. Okay, they made 1,000 batches. Okay, this is 1,000 batch. Calculate the material usage variance. Okay, there will be a material price variance and a usage variance. Let me show you how that would be shown in the system. It gets very long. And you need to break it down by the product, to product category. Okay, to product category. So it becomes a bit more tedious. Just remember, it becomes a bit more tedious. So let's say example, let me just walk you through this. In this question, this is the full-blown approach of the calculation. You put the material here, materials, then you have this list. This is one grouping, one grouping, one grouping, and one grouping. Okay, so you actually have these groupings that will come up like this. And this one, remember, although I have laid it out like this, but when we do it, we may calculate it slightly different, okay? But you do need to know what is changing. You start with A, everything, then you change one S, then you change the next S, and then you change the last S. So basically, just You just have to remember QMP, okay, and then AQ, AM, AP, actual quantity, actual mix, actual price, actual quantity, actual mix, standard price, actual quantity, standard mix, standard price, and then finally standard quantity, standard mix, standard price. So you're just changing one item at a time. Got it? One item at a time. So once you have this, then the type of material comes here, 1, 2, and then you have the total. So this is your cost that you can say is the total cost. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. Okay, so then when you want to calculate this, okay, these two join together. Right. So what will happen is this will merge into one. This will merge into another one. This will merge into another one. Hold on. So that's going to be our price variance. We combine these two, become. So that's going to be called usage variance. Got it? So when you're going to calculate for this one, they've already said they don't want to calculate price variance. So you can kind of ignore the price variance. So you can only need to do the usage, mix and yield variance. So for us to calculate the mix and yield variance is the way I will go about doing it. I'll show it to you right now. We're going to do one by one. Put the material here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. I'm just going to copy this one over. Now, pay attention to the materials. Okay. So the first one you got is going to be there is raisin and chocolate, R and C. Okay. Actual price. No actual price. Actual quantity, it's supposed to be actual quantity. Actual quantity. Actual mix. Actual price. Okay, so we have something here. Raisin, actual quantity is 4,900 kg. You have 1,400. Sorry, this is not the actual quantity. Actual quantity is here. Actual mix is 4,900 and 1,400. This one is standard price because they already said don't need, so we'll just use standard price. Standard price is 8 and 12. And you join this together to get a number. This one is going to be this plus with this. So that's about 6,300 broken down by actual mix and standard price. So you can get the cost. Okay, so the cost is going to be Right, that's your actual cost. Right guys, that would be the actual cost that you need to be worried about for the first mix, first level, this one. Okay, next, do the same thing. Our item is going to be AQ, SM, SP. Okay, let's look at the item here. R, and C. So this 6003 is the same thing. This is going to be 6,300. Okay. And the mix is now standard mix. Standard mix is going to be 5-1. That's going to be this one times 5/6. Hold on. Times 5/6. And this one is going to be times 1/6. So it's supposed to be 6. Therefore, the price is the same, 8 and 12. And therefore, we can now get the cost already. Okay, so you got the next set. Then the last one comes up. Standard quantity, standard mix, standard price. So if you made 1,000 batch, you're supposed to use 6,000 kg. Okay, make sure you understand that one. 1,000 batch should have used 6,000 because one batch is 6 kg on standard. So 1,000 batch should use 6,000 kg. Now you break this up the same way. Okay, and that should have been the cost that you can get. Okay, are you okay on the calculations first? Which means you can now combine these two, and you can combine these two, you will get a variance. Okay, what is the variance that you can get here? Okay, the variance that you get here is going to be, well, 56,000 actually spent, should have spent 54,600. That's going to be 1,004 different, 1,004, this one is adverse. Okay, this is your mix variance. Are we okay? Then here, 54,600 should have been 52,000. So that's going to be 2,600. Adverse yield variance. Okay, that would be the table that you will have to set up to solve this problem. Are we okay? And when you add these two together, remember when you add these two together, what do you get? You get this one becoming your 3,000, 4,000 adverse usage variance. Okay, are we okay on the total there being the usage variance? Okay, that kind of covers, remember, that kind of covers this idea that you had, okay? So therefore, you should be able to figure out what's going on. Can? Okay, that covers the main variance that I needed to cover for mix and yield. Okay, the next variance you're going to look at. So, right, this is homework question. I want you to try this out. Okay, this is going to be a homework question. Make a note. You will do this and I will discuss this next class. Okay, we'll talk about that one in the next class. We're now moving on to the next issue. I might do this now itself, see first whether we got time, all right? I just need to move on to the next issue first. Planning and operational variance. Okay, planning and operational variance. Before I go to planning and operational variance, I shall give you a short break. Any questions so far, guys? Any questions so far? All okay? Thumbs up. Shan, okay. Amira, are you okay, Amira? Anybody's name not marked today, this day? Anybody's name not marked yet? Just check. All marked ready? All okay? I thought I sent the PowerPoint to you already, right? It's inside the WhatsApp group. Check your WhatsApp group. Is it there? You all have it, right? Yes, confirm. All of you should have the PowerPoints. Okay? I'm running from the PowerPoint, so don't worry. Right, let me give you a short break. Okay, no worries. Let me give you a short break here. Take about 10 minutes. Then I'll start back again.